Hi, my name is Christy, and this is the Chinese American Food Show, where we analyze historical artifacts like vintage menus, recipe books, photographs, and text to tell the stories of Chinese American food. Today we're going to talk about one of the earliest existing menus of Chinese restaurants in the United States. Before we start, let's talk a little bit about the menus. A menu, of course, is a list of dishes to be served at a meal. Menus have been around in Europe since the 18th century, but the first record of menus was in the Song Dynasty in China. It is from an excerpt in the book Daily Life in China on the eve of the Mongol invasion, 1250 to 1276, by Jacques Janet. Various things to eat were served along with the drinks. A menu was handed to the customers, from which they could choose the dishes they wanted. It was said that there is a special need for menus in Chinese cuisine because of the wide range of dishes on offer. Let's jump into our menu today. Mon Lay Won was an upscale Chinese restaurant at 24 Pell Street in New York, popular at the turn of the last century. But not all Chinese restaurants were like that. This photograph was taken around 1911 on the middle floor of Hang Fa Lo, also an upscale restaurant, but in San Francisco. It housed a kitchen and served more common fare to Chinese shopkeepers and workers during the day. There's also an upper floor for banquets. Cheaper restaurants that served simple rice and noodle dishes were usually located in the basements of buildings, as seen in this photograph taken before the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. The vertical sign on the left that is partially cut off reads four things: noodles, raw fish, meat congee, which is Chinese porridge, and the raw fish is supposed to be put in the congee, and simple meals. And the sign on the right tells us a little bit more about what kind of noodles they served. Wonton noodles. There's also alcohol and lunch. The entrance of the restaurant is where the kids are at, down the stairs. So obviously Mon Lay Won is the former upscale type. Let's take a look at the menu. This menu is estimated to be from the 1890s. On the cover we see first the name of the restaurant in Chinese, then the transliterated name in English, Mon Lay Won and Company. Then we see the name Chinese Delmonico coined by the owner, which we will cover in a later episode, but not today. Mon Lay Won means 10,000 miles of cloud. So in the image, we see a man, not just any man, a man of extreme high ranks. We can tell from the finely embroidered robe. After more digging, I found the original of the reproduction on this menu is actually a drawing of the Guangxu Emperor, the 10th emperor of the Qing dynasty. Guangxu only ruled without Empress Dowager Cixi's influence for less than 10 years, and he was held under house arrest until his death when the Empress launched a coup in 1898. I'm not sure if the owner of Mon Lay Won would still choose the Emperor's image as the cover of his menu if he knew that's how Guangxu's life would end. Okay, finally let's get to the food. On the top across, we see the sentence, "the first-class Chinese restaurant," to further solidify Mon Lay Won's marketing positioning. Every line here is a menu item. We have the English first, the price, then the Chinese. The Chinese words are written from right to left. The writing directions from right to left vertically has been a tradition for the Chinese language because people were writing calligraphy on bamboo or wooden slips that roll into scroll before the invention of paper. Under the influence of European languages, we slowly saw Chinese language adopting horizontal left to right writing directions. We have 67 items on the menu, not including the two half-portion items. The categories are mains, preserves, teas, and our special dishes. There are 42 dishes in the main section. It is a bit hard to read because the dishes were not broken down into categories we often see in menus from the same period, like soup, fish, boiled, roast, game, vegetables. But you can kind of tell the groupings, right? We have 3 soup noodles up in the top, and then fish and seafood, 4 chop sueys. Then you have stir-fried dishes between beef, pork, chicken, and pigeons with onions, mushrooms, green peppers, and tomatoes. Then you have the roast, the chow mein, and egg foo young, and more chicken dishes. On the next page, we have vegetables and soups, 9 types of preserves, and 4 varieties of tea. I want to get into what kind of patrons Mon Lay Won was serving in order to understand the menu. Mon Lay Won was a favorite among Chinese important merchants and heads of associations because its large venue could support banquets for hundreds of people. According to the New York Times in 1908, the Hip Sing Tong held its New Year's dinner twice that year at Mon Lay Won. It is the custom of the Tongs to split their annual New Year's dinner up into 2 semi-annual dinners, one starting at 5 p.m. and lasting until 7 p.m., when the Tongs go to the Chinese theater and visit their friends, returning for the second dinner at 11 o'clock. Another example, Chu Fong, a member of the 6 companies, the 4 Brotherhood, and the Chinese Merchants Association, and the chief of the committee of the leading Chinatown businessmen. Anyway, it's a very important merchant. Held a dinner for Mayor Van Wyck at Mon Lay Won on November 23, 1897, for which the most elaborate menu ever served within the boundaries of Chinatown was prepared. A first-class formal meal at a New York Chinese restaurant for a large group of Chinese cost about $50 in the 1890s, and it would last up to 2 days and contain about 40 courses. An inexpensive spread of 8 courses would be about $10. Just to give a comparison on pricing, here is a menu of Café Boulevard in 1899, a very popular Hungarian restaurant also in New York City. In its early days, the restaurant was known for its clientele of artists and newspaper writers. It later became famous for hosting chess tournaments and gala dinners. A Sunday dinner here on the menu was 75 cents, with oysters, soup, fish, entree, roast, and dessert. This really shows Mon Lay Won was pretty high up there in terms of price. In the year 1899, an engineer in New York City made $3 on average per day. A fireman, $1.66. A farmer in the state of New York made 80 cents. So a fireman could afford a basic meal at Mon Lay Won with the totality of a one-day pay. So this wraps up the first segment for Mon Lay Won 1890 menu. Please go to the second segment to continue if you're interested. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel. See you soon.